Welcome into the Jam Happy Hour. Hope you're having a wonderful afternoon and evening. Get ready for some wine, some music, just hanging out and maybe getting to know an artist a little bit better, or just hanging out and enjoying the music with Kasey Tyndall here this evening, who's joining us from Nashville, Tennessee. Hi, Kasey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I've been looking all over the feed and the bomb cyclone that is coming our way here in the U.S., which just means it's going to be cold. How are you faring up there in Nashville so far?
I'm not really used to the cold, and neither is Nashville. So we don't know how to handle it. So, I went to the grocery store today, and there's no bread and no milk. So,
Sounds about right. As a Southern girl, I can appreciate the fact that there's been a run on the milk, the eggs, the bread, and the cookies.
and the alcohol.
And the alcohol. And again, to that, cheers to everybody who's joining us here for the Jam Happy Hour this evening. What we love to do in this hour is either your fans get to jump in and get to know us a little bit better, or our fans get to jump in and know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
And if somebody hasn't experienced Kasey Tyndall and your music and your story just yet, by the end of this hour, we're all going to be super duper familiar with each other.
Yes.
Which I
Can't
love. We just
wait.
get to hang out, enjoy music, and enjoy some wine. I know you've been doing music, for a hot minute, for like a few years. You've got a lot under your belt already. Like, do you feel like you're still kind of in that jump off point of, yeah, now I got this, like the big stuff's coming, or you're just like kind of settled into it?
Um, Honestly, I feel like have barely scratched the surface, and I'm on
Fun.
year. I've been in Nashville for 8 years.
Yeah.
They say it's a 10-year town though, but there's been moments where I'm like, here we go, and it's like, no, start
Casey
over, here we
speaks
go.
in song titles. The fact that 10 Year Town is another one you got to write down.
Oh yeah, wait, who did it? Haley Witters wrote an
Oh,
incredible song called Ten. I think it's her that did 10-Year Town. So good. You have to listen to it, but it's exactly how we all feel.
well, yeah. Well, we've talked about Nashville a handful of times. I mean, it's such a great hub for music right now. But it's such a unique town too, though, because in the fact that there's a community, and it's like, yes, I mean, everybody's out for themselves. I mean, because life. But songwriters get together, guitar players get together, drummers get together. Like everybody comes together and tries to better themselves in Nashville. I don't see that in any other town.
Yeah, I have been blessed, with that sense of community. I have a
Hmm.
group of girlfriends that you probably know. And if it wasn't for them, I don't know. I mean, because no one here really has family,
Right.
and we're all from far away, most of us.
They become
And
family.
yeah, and we just we are all here to do our own thing, but at the same time, it's incredible how your your family is just there for you, and those are my girlfriends.
You
And
know,
yeah, in the
and
songwriting community, it's like just country music people are just so nice. I mean,
yeah,
if my house burnt down tomorrow, I'd have so many couches to sleep on. Like,
right.
it's just how this community is.
It's really cool. It is unlike any other. I think we were interviewing Jay Severett not too long ago, and he was very much in the same vein of like, Mondays we get together and do this, and Tuesdays we do this, and then Wednesday we do our own thing, and then Thursday we see how it turned out, and like everybody's just so super supportive of each other. So we love the vibe, and we love to uh, maybe, gosh, we just did our first live show. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but I think we need to take this act on the road and come to your town.
Yes.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, totally.
But before we do that, obviously, we're here to enjoy some music. And
Yeah.
I want to get into the story. I want to get into, what's coming up, what's been, what's going on. But let's just set the tone with the first song. What would you like to introduce yourself with to the Jam Happy Hour family?
Mm. I always love to start off with this song just because it just kind of eases into me.
Hmm.
But it's a single I put out earlier in the year, and it's called Babies, and I wrote it with friends of mine, Gary Garrison Smith Onquist, and um, at the time, all of our friends were getting married and having kids, and we were
Yeah.
all just like, year 8 in 10
It's a
year
10. I
town,
mean,
like, okay,
what's
what are we
next?
doing here? All our moms are like, when are you going to settle down? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Dangerous
So we wrote
question.
this song, and it's amazing. It's been amazing how many people have been able to connect to it, and the actual recording is real rockin', which is I'm more on the rockin' side of country, so
Yeah.
um, but yeah, this is called Babies.
Ah, excellent. Casey Tyndall here in the Jam Happy Hour. Enjoy.
Mm. Well, I don't own a house yet. No, I probably should, but it kinda scares the shit out of me. Little sister feels older, got a couple kids. How the hell is she only 23? Another day, another sun, always on a run, 'cause I ride the wind like a feather. Got a dream that I can claim, maybe one of these days I'll finally get it together. 'Cause I've been living like I'm never gonna be anything other than young. The thing about time is it sure flies by when you don't wanna grow up. I don't really think about trying to settle down, but it's hard not to lately. 'Cause all my exes call me crazy, and all my friends are having babies. I had a good boyfriend who I really liked him. I could see him as my husband. Yeah, but here's the thing, I know what kind of ring I want, but I don't know when I want it. 'Cause I've been living like I'm never gonna be anything other than young. The thing about time is it sure flies by when you don't wanna grow up. I don't really think about trying to settle down, but it's hard not to lately. 'Cause all my exes call me crazy, and all my friends are having babies. Well, all my nights been open signs, never thought they'd ever catch up with me. I wanna be like my mama, then I don't wanna. Yeah, I'm somewhere between. 'Cause I've been living like I'm never gonna be anything other than young. The thing about time is it sure flies by when you don't wanna grow up. I don't really think about trying to settle down, but it's hard not to lately. 'Cause all my exes call me crazy, and all my friends are having babies. Well, all my exes call me crazy, and all my friends are having babies. Yeah, so that's Babies.
You know, but it makes sense though, because there always is, it seems like there's that point like in your life, all of a sudden you turn around and everybody's getting married, having babies, and you're like, I'm still doing this thing, I'm still pursuing this, I'm still trying to do this, and there is like
Yup.
kind of like a little bit of that pressure of like, okay, well, what's your plan? And you're like, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, and it's so weird because like I mean, yeah, back home you're like 22. I feel like all my friends were
Hmm.
married with kids. Hell, half of them were divorced by then. It's like I'm still over here can't afford toilet paper at 26.
Well, who got it right and who got it wrong? You know what? Nobody can say either way, but it's such a great song. And, putting music out in, obviously the last couple of years has been a very unique experience. But I feel like, 22 kind of feels like it's coming back around to a little bit of normalcy. Would you say the same as an artist?
Yeah, I mean, we were able to tour all this year and
Hmm.
honestly most of last year. Um, I mean, I feel like 2021 we had to kind of get back into it, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this year has been full force. We really haven't seen anything other than that, but
Yeah.
it's that couple years were hard, very
Mm.
hard. Like, well, one just financially, but just not being on the road is not good for our souls. You
No, and especially when you're used to it. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's like a creative fire that kind of comes from being in that environment.
Totally. I mean, I when I'm on the road, I'm just in a different headspace. You know, we
Hmm.
when we write songs in Nashville, it's we're in the kind of the same rooms every day for
Hmm.
hours, and it's just nice to like just break that up and just yeah, like you're saying, like that fire. I mean,
Yeah.
we do these things called writers retreats, where
Mm.
our publishing companies will send us to the beach with a bunch of writers just to break up the monotony,
Sure.
and they're tired of hearing the same songs, you know. So they're like,
Honesty.
y'all need to go get creative and come back.
I've always had to remind myself of that too. I mean, especially over the last few years, we were all at home and all doing the same thing, and very much in a routine, a safety net per se. That
Yep.
getting back out there and traveling and getting out of that headspace, I think, has done wonders for us personally, but also artistically too, because you've been putting out some really great music this year, and that's not. It's just not a coincidence. I mean, obviously, it was time for you to get back out there and do the things, and we're super glad that you are.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, me too, for my sanity also.
For everybody's sanity. One thing that I like to do, because it's such a small business that we all kind of work in, obviously we support. If you haven't followed Kasey already on all of her socials, do so. She's super out there. She's honest, and you're definitely getting a glimpse into your day to day life, which I think is really cool. But I always like to jump on and say, okay, who do we know? Who do we have in common? Who are our people? Kylie Fry, who's also been a part of the Jam Happy Hour,
Yes.
absolutely lovely young woman, and she's another one of those. She's a rodeo girl,
She's incredible. she's I've known Kylie for a few years, and yeah, she's I don't come from that world, but yeah,
no, me
she's
neither.
like I love learning through her and one of my best friends, Jenna Lamaster. She was a professional barrel racer and is an artist. And then, like people like Jenna Paulette, it's like, you know, it's cool to learn about that world through their social media and like just
Well, yeah, I
from
mean, it's
hearing
like,
them talk.
and especially after the last couple of years when we really couldn't all like hang out, we were just kind of like learning from each other in this very distant kind of bubble. Somebody else that follows you that we're a big fan of, Jake Wesley Rogers.
Yes.
What an artist!
Is it bad
He
that I just started listening to him this year?
No, he played for us on our jam pad at the Bottle Rock Music Festival in.
Oh my gosh. Wait. Sorry. When you just said that, I heard a totally different name. Dude, yes, Jake. Oh my gosh. I've known him for years. Sorry, I just had a huge brain fart. Um, oh my gosh. He is incredible.
Right? But talk about a totally different kind of performer because he's so all the things. He's visually creative and he's musically creative, and like when you see someone like that, does it make you want to like kind of stretch those boundaries a little bit? Like, okay, how can I do that?
Totally.
Like,
Totally. I mean, like you were saying, visually, I mean, he's a superstar, and
yeah.
that word is I feel like everybody says that. Oh, you're a
Well, it's
superstar.
accurate.
Like, no, this dude is a superstar.
Hmm.
And like his costumes, um, just, what? Like
Like
just
everything, the
incredible.
music, the heart. It's like he's one of these guys that you feel like you're not getting any filter whatsoever, and that comes across in your music as well too. Like I feel like the way that
Thank
you're
you.
writing and your lyrics, like whatever you're in that moment, wherever that song's coming from, it kind of
Yeah.
comes across in your songs that you are in a very real moment. And I think that's why it connects too, because people are like, I've felt that way, or I've been in that exact situation. Are you thinking that as you're writing these songs?
Honestly, it depends.
Hmm.
Sometimes, yes, like
Hmm.
I'm thinking of other people, but then sometimes I'm just writing for myself, and
Hmm.
most of the time, those are the songs that end up connecting the most. The ones
Right.
that are coming from my experience and just writing more on a therapy side of things. Most of the time, that works the best.
Yeah. Is the songwriting therapy for you?
Most of the time, yeah. I mean, and it's also just what I know that I was born to do. So, but yeah, a lot of times it's been my therapist.
Amen for that. I think
I
it's
like I can
probably
sit down like with a co-writer I just met that day and pour out my whole soul to him, but probably won't tell my mom that what I just told the co-writer.
right. You're like, let me just put this out there. And I'm
Yeah.
sure like something, pretty cool comes out of it. I want to get into, how you figured out you had this voice and you wanted to jump into a little bit, but I don't want to get away from the music a little bit too long. So, what song would you like to perform for us next here in the Jam Happy Hour?
Hmm. Let's see.
You set the tone with babies.
I know. I feel like I wanted to do Middleman next, but it I'll never do it.
You're like, Kasey Tyndall's here in the Jam Happy Hour with us tonight. If you guys want to follow along, get to know her a little bit better, add her to all your playlists on all your platforms. I promise you will not be disappointed. As Kasey, we're going with Middleman.
Middleman it
All right,
is.
let's do it. Enjoy.
Oh, I hope Mama never hears this song. And I'd hate to make Daddy feel guilty. I don't know why they called it a broken home. It was split in two, damn it built me. We put some miles on back and forth. I was backseating a middleman between my sister and a suitcase. Texaco every other Sunday, meet 'em halfway with a check in my back pocket. Bunch of mama said, Daddy said, be sure and tell 'em I said hello. Pulling off a waving from the window. I was too young to understand. I was a little girl and the middleman. I got a taste of rock and roll. I swear I learned to talk to Jesus. And I made best friends with the road. I swear I got real good. I got real good at leaving in the backseat in a middleman between my sister and a suitcase. Texaco every other Sunday, meet 'em halfway with a check in my back pocket. Bunch of mama said, Daddy said, be sure and tell 'em I said hello. Pulling off a waving from the window. I was too young to understand. I was a little girl and the middleman. Yeah, I was a middleman. Backseat in the middleman between my sister and a suitcase. Texaco every other Sunday, meet 'em halfway with a check in my back pocket. Bunch of mama said, Daddy said, be sure and tell 'em I said hello. Pulling off a waving from the window. And now I understand that broken hearts are just part of the plan. Yeah, I was a little girl in the middleman.
Yeah, that's one of those songs that's definitely one of those connectors, especially when you grew up in the backseat of the car between the two homes. That's really well done and really well said.
Oh,
And
thank you.
I'm sure that connects on a lot of levels for a lot of people. Is that something that you like grew up
Yeah,
doing? Yeah.
totally. And it's one of those songs kind of going into what we were talking about just a
Yeah.
few minutes ago about like the songs that I like literally. So I'm sure you know Lainey Wilson.
Yeah.
She's crushing right now. She's my best friend, and we were roommates for about 6 years. And
Mhm.
um, 2020 hit, and we were bored because we weren't on the road. And so we were just sitting on the back porch one night, which was rare for us because we were usually gone.
Yeah.
And we were just literally just kind of just matter of factly talking about how my parents were divorced. And
Mhm.
I loved it. I mean, like my parents got along. Had two
That's huge,
Christmases,
by the way.
two birthdays, and
Yeah.
I didn't really realize that until I put the song out. Like I said, it was just we were just kind of speaking about it. And I said, the only thing that kind of sucked about it for me was being the oldest sibling. I was the middleman.
Right.
And being a songwriter, as soon as I said middleman, she was like, go get a
That's it.
guitar right now. It was like 10 o'clock at night. I'm sure we were drinking on the back porch. And
Sure.
we wrote that song in it felt like 30 minutes. And what's amazing was at the time, it wasn't really because of the pandemic, but I had kind of been dropped by everything and was
Mhm.
like in this point where I was like, not only was there a pandemic, but I was about to lose like a publishing deal, and I was like, I have no income. It's not like you can just go get a job right now because of the
Right.
pandemic. And
Yeah.
I needed a song to kind of
Kind of
get me back over the hump
parlay.
and
Yeah.
get me another publishing deal, and it did. So, and then, but what was crazy was just how many people connected
Sure.
to that song, and it was just something that we were writing for me.
Well, it's also it's a nugget of your life too, though. So it's like you think of it as like it's a song or it's a thing, but it actually is like a very real and visceral memory for like so many of us,
Yeah.
growing up. And then fast forward, here I am, basically doing the same to my lovely child. And again, hoop hoop for the moms and dads that can keep it together and be friends. It's great, but again, it's like it's those songs that just connect on a level that, yes, of course, it's a beautiful song and it's an incredible story, and the way that the lyrics kind of pull you along. It's a well written song, but what it is it's a memory, and it's your
Yeah.
memory, and then you put it out into the world to attach to other people's memories. Do you think of that when you're doing it, like in the process of that 10 o'clock at night, grab your guitar, let's write a song? Do you realize it's going to imprint on other people eventually?
In this particular situation, no, I
Mm.
didn't. I literally the first thing when she was going to get the guitar, I was like, "Well, I hope my mama never hears this song." And she was like, first line, she was like, "Just keep talking." And so literally, uh, the only thing that's not true in the song
Hmm.
is it wasn't a Texaco, it was a Hess station.
Oh,
And that just sounded weird in the song, so
yeah.
Texaco it was.
Better than
But
Chevron, better than
everything is
Hess.
just, yeah. So, I just like that. My mom listened to 80s rock, and that's where
Yeah.
my love of rock and roll came from.
Hmm.
And then, just every line in there is literally just matter of fact. And
Yeah,
it
it's like
wasn't,
it's very real
it
life.
wasn't, yeah. And for me, it wasn't bad memories at all. It was just what it was. And it's, my love for music came from riding back and forth to each
Right.
house listening to music.
I love that. And it's so true, though. Again, it's another one of those snapshots into like that real life moment of, yeah, you're sitting in the back of the car and you're listening to whatever mom's listening to. And whether it's like Casey Kasem's Top 40 or if it's, Poison going down the road, like that's what you attach those memories to. And now, like, here you are, like, kind of paying it forward in really cool ways, which we will get into in just a hot minute. But I wanted to talk a bit about women in the music industry in general, but women in Nashville. There seems to be such a really cool movement that is happening. Another one of our friends that we have in common, Leslie Fram. I know she's incredibly vocal at CMT about women in Nashville and bringing up new artists. And it seems like the artists, y'all are coming together and being like, okay, power in numbers, which we've always known. Are you really feeling a shift?
Um, yes and no at the same time. And the reason I say this, I probably get in trouble for saying this, but
No, don't tell me.
I've never truly experienced not getting something in music because I'm a woman.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's because um I don't know why. But
Hmm.
I have seen it with others, and what I have seen is the talent and the music that's coming out of women in country right now
Yeah.
is better. It is the best I've heard in a long time.
Agreed.
And people like Leslie Fram, who are such pioneers and are giving the platforms for this incredible music to be heard. You kind of add that together, and it's just, phew.
It's a good time.
Yeah, it's the wave. It's the wave for women right now for sure in Nashville, and it's so exciting because it not only is it just women, it's badass women.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. It's a vibe.
women that ain't, we're just doing it because we're doing it. We don't
Right.
have to be like, I got this because I'm a woman. It's I got this because I'm a badass bitch, and my
I'm
music
writing
is
great
just
songs
great.
and I'm putting on great shows, and it's like in that sense I feel there's a shift.
Oh, totally.
The sit back and look pretty days.
Gone. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, when I look at all the women that are coming up in country right now, it's real women. It's like the ones that our friends that we grew up with, like, yep, she's just like me.
You're like, she's
And it's
legit.
awesome. It's awesome, and I'm stoked. I love it. I'm one that I connected to men's music just as much, if not more, than women's music. And here recently, I'm like, give me all the females. I love it.
It's like all the girl energy. Is there anybody that like has really just kind of impressed you lately that you kind of want to turn us on to?
Yeah, I mean, my girlfriends. Not because they're my friend, like my closest friends.
Because they're badass.
But because they're badass. Like Lainey Wilson, obviously, she's taking over country music right now. I mean,
it's fun to watch.
It's incredible, and she's one of a bunch of women I know right now that are that are just incredible and are crushing. But yeah, she is. I've watched her struggle for a long time, but it's not just that. It's literally her music is. I love it.
Right.
But if you don't know Lainey, you probably do. But if you don't know her, she's incredible. But I mean, also,
do you have playlists and whatnot that we can jump onto your playlist and like hear like a lot of these ladies and like can kind of like spread the word a little bit?
I think I do have like one. I need to get better at that, like making my own playlist for others to listen to. Like I have ones that I make just for myself,
right?
And then I think I do have a few that I've like curated to. But I need, what? After this, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do.
Well, when it's 5 degrees in Nashville this weekend, snuggle up with your milk and your bread, and crank out a playlist. In the meantime, let's jump into another song. What would you like to perform for us next here in the Jam Happy Hour?
Yeah. So I put out this song also this year, and
so busy.
I know. I was on my way to a co-write. I get there, I was a few minutes early, and I was scrolling to my phone, and I don't remember if it was a like blog post, something, and it was just somebody was just like really putting down like the country way of life. It was like we're barefoot and no teeth and very uneducated kind of thing, and I was like,
not accurate.
And not accurate, and I'm country is Butterbean, so
from Alabama, and the fact that you said Butterbean, we are now sisters in life. Just so you know, my nickname growing up was Butterbean Butt. So,
oh, I love that. Are you kidding? That's hilarious. Mine was Pumpkin. Like
Pumpkin. Oh, okay, so I interrupted your story, Butterbean. Tell me,
no,
Pumpkin.
You're good. But I walked into my car and I was like, just pissed. I just slammed the doorbell. I was like, guys, there's nothing wrong with being country. And they were like, okay, where's that coming from? I was like, and I told them. And then I was like, I kind of need a girl anthem. And so this is for country girls. This is called Nothing Wrong with Being Country.
Love it. Kasey Tyndall here in the Jam Happy Hour.
If you keep a Glock tucked in your purse, bless your heart as you go to worse. If you had to jump high on your step side just to get inside of your first truck. Favorite colors camouflage. Your day off is a fishing rod. If you grew up in the middle of nothing, then you got something to be proud of. Ain't nothing wrong with being a little redneck, little trashy, little low-key class. Ain't boss hanging on a chain. If you like your mama, you can whip up anything. If you want strawberry, wore your boots to get married, contrary to what the world thinks. Ain't nothing wrong with being a little redneck, little trashy, little low-key class. Ain't nothing wrong with raising up a long neck, 'cause you're proud of the down-home fact that you got a hometown ain't nobody heard of. Everybody knows you're the queen of kicking dirt up. There's something sexy about talking funny. Girl, there ain't nothing wrong with being country. Being country. Ain't nothing wrong with being a little redneck, little trashy, little low-key class. Ain't nothing wrong with raising up a long neck, 'cause you're proud of the down-home fact that you got a hometown ain't nobody heard of. Everybody knows you're the queen of kicking dirt up. There's something sexy about talking funny. Girl, there ain't nothing wrong with being country. Hell no, with being country.
Oh, you and I just had moments. We had so many moments together just there.
I wish I could have seen you while I was playing that. So I was like, I know she's gonna like that one.
I mean, it's so funny. The many lyrics struck out there. A hometown nobody's ever heard of. Where are you from?
Originally from a small town outside of Greenville, North Carolina.
And the Triad.
It's sort of. It's like it's halfway between Raleigh and the beach. It's where East Carolina University is.
Okay.
I feel like when I say Greenville, North Carolina, people assume South Carolina, even though I say
no.
North Carolina. It's the opposite side. It's not that cool. Actually, it is. I really
It is
liked growing
cool.
up. I liked growing up in Greenville, but
Yeah.
But yeah, so my mom lived in Greenville, and my dad and the rest of like my family lived in this little town from where I'm from, and yeah. So I have to say Greenville because nobody knows the town I'm from.
Because clearly that's the lyric right there. I'm from McCalla, Alabama. So it's another one of those where nobody knows. But I can say, oh, it's near Bessemer, or it's in between Tuscaloosa and the Mercedes plant. It's like, your southern wind. You just go straight for the Buc-ee's and the, wherever that may be. But yes, that among many moments in that song, I can totally see why that would kind of resonate with a lot of people, especially when you say it's sexy to talk funny sometimes.
Yes.
In my industry, sadly, I don't get to talk funny very often, but when I get really angry or really drunk,
Yep.
that
Gets
shit will
worse.
come out so fast, and people will whip their heads around and be like, where did that just come from? And it's like,
And
Southern.
where like Eastern North Carolina, we're
yeah.
really Southern. We have the Southern accent, but we talk fast.
oh,
And
yeah.
so my friends have no clue what I'm saying sometimes, especially when I get drunk and I start,
You get ramped
not really
up.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And they're like, "What did you just say?" But also, living with Lainey so long, I picked up some of the Louisiana accent,
Which is a
and
whole
she picked up
different
some
beast.
of mine. Oh yeah, and I'll never forget. I went home and I said rice different than normal,
Oh.
and they were like, "What?"
Record
I
scratch.
was like, I don't know. What did I say?
If people aren't in the Southern game, they don't really kind of fully understand. There are so many different levels to it. But wherever anybody's from, there's many different levels of New York. There's a million different levels of the Midwest. It's like, with a song like that, there's nothing wrong with being a little country. But
That's right.
when you can appreciate it and you can kind of laugh about it, I think it just kind of makes us great. So selfishly, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful song. But growing up in Greenville, North Carolina, which there is a difference. I went to school in Wilmington and Chapel Hill, so I kind of
So you know.
yeah. Oh yeah, go Heels.
Dang.
Go
Oh
Seahawks.
yes. Well,
All the
yeah.
things.
Even though I went to ECU and I'm a pirate, I still pull for the Tar Heels when ECU's not. Not
Thank
playing.
you. Thank you. My best friend, who was my college roommate at UNC Wilmington, her son is going to be a freshman at ECU
Oh,
next year.
fun.
So, yeah, I'm still very much in the family. But I remember being in the Carolinas, listening to the radio, DCG out of Raleigh or E&D out of Charlotte. Like, I'm a radio nerd. It's still what I do. And you and I can tag very specific moments in our lives to listening to the radio.
100%.
And my entire career is based off of winning a radio contest. Odd. Because maybe your entire path is based off
Yeah.
of winning a radio contest. What was that like for you?
So I was not planning on doing music professionally. And for
What
a
did you want to
career,
be?
I was going to ECU to be a nurse. And of course, I wanted to. I mean, it was a
You
dream
love
to
music,
be
yeah.
an artist. But I was very realistic. I was working 3 jobs and going to school and playing some music on the side. And I never really thought, go to Nashville and risk it all. I was raised, you work hard and you
Yeah.
put food on the table, and you're thankful, and you kind of go from there.
Yeah.
But QDR out of Raleigh was
wow.
having a contest, and Keith Urban was, I guess there was no females on this tour, and he needed someone to sing the Miranda part to We Were Us, which this is genius. He reaches out to every radio station in the area and it's like, hold a contest.
Okay, whoever came up
me-
with that promo is brilliant.
Genius.
Brilliant.
Absolutely genius. And my friends and family, they like made me do it. And I was like, guys, this is so dumb. Do you know how many people are going to do this?
Aww.
And I did. And here's the funny part. You called in over the phone and sang. So you know how it is being in radio, like coming across the phone. It's like,
And yeah,
they played back the finalists and I was like, we all sounded like crap.
like you're in
But,
this tunnel of like terrible audio. I mean, it's not good.
Totally.
What?
But yeah, so we I won and for Eastern North Carolina and got to go sing at Walnut Creek Amphitheater in Raleigh with him. And I still wasn't thinking that's what's gonna start my career by any means, but it my first manager happened to be based out of Raleigh and Nashville, and was there, and it was like one thing led to another, and then I was like, well, I think I'm dropping out of school and moving to Nashville.
Do you
So-
remember the feeling of about to walk on stage that night?
There was like cables all bunched up and they put a rug over it so you don't trip.
Sure.
And they told me to stand behind it, and they were like, okay, when you walk out, like he'll say your name after this song, and then you just walk out and you go. I could not feel my wings. I don't remember. I was so nervous that I said a prayer. I was like, Jesus, I don't know what to do because I can't move my feet. They're like concrete blocks right now. And him and Jesus and adrenaline totally took over, and I walked out, and I don't remember half of it. I wrote the first word of each line on my hand in case I got so
That's
nervous.
smart.
Thank God I did that. But they did hold a contest the next week, and they were like, "What did Kasey Tyndall do to remember the words?" Like, and they used
like,
it because it
"I'll
was
never
so
tell."
obvious on the video. So I was like, "Crap!" They caught me. But anyway, it was crazy, and he was so nice, and it definitely changed my life. So very thankful for radio stations and their contests that they hold.
It's some crazy contesting, that's for sure. I mean, I still program radio stations to this day, and we still try to come up with things, that have those like, really cool moments like that. It's harder and harder to do these days. But when I read your story and I knew that you'd had that moment of just like being able to like walk out into this, like his audience and his fan base. And that energy, and the fact that you like walked out there and did it and nailed it, and you were like, you know what, I can do that. I think it's so awesome.
Oh yeah, and my family's like, this is gonna change your life. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, but there was news channels like fighting to get an interview with me before I left for Raleigh that day. They were actually like fighting. I was like, what is going on? I felt like a star or something. I was like, y'all are crazy.
But get used to that.
Yeah, it was wild. That was yeah. That day changed my life.
My
And
story's not nearly as
QDR.
cool as yours, but I just won a contest to go see Oasis in London. So it was, but what I got to,
Amazing.
oh yeah, that was amazing. Well, one of them did, one of them didn't. The other one, long story. But what I got into was the sound production and the
Yeah.
Pro Tools and the Adobe and how you can manipulate, sounds and build things. And I was like, wow, because I was going to medical school like you. I was like, I
Oh
was all
wow.
into the needles and the blood and the guts and the glory, and that's what I wanted to do. And all of a sudden, I was like, no, I want to build promos. I want to do this fun stuff over here. So I think like when you
Wow.
grow up with music in your heart, and it speaks to you on such a level, whether it's being an amazing artist like yourself, or me just like being a total nerd and wanting to share music with people along the ways. I think you kind of can't shake it, and
Yeah.
as you were talking about, it was such a part of you growing up as a kid. The fact that you get to share it now, which I think is, really kind of awesome. I think it's going to find you sometimes in really exciting ways and really random ways, like winning, contests. But I'm so glad
Yep.
that it did. And I'm glad you've been putting out music. You're 8 of your 10 years
Yep.
there in Nashville.
We're getting there. We're getting there. But that's so cool. That's like your story with radio and
When I read your story, I was like, this is I can kind of relate on how things change on a
I
dime.
love that.
And if it's music, just kind of go with it too. And speaking of music, what is next for you? We're about to embark on a whole new year.
Yeah.
And what's your plan for 23, musically?
So so I just announced today. I'm putting out a new single January 6th with my friend Dylan Marlowe, who is the sweetest guy, and
He's super cute. I'm
he's
looking at your Instagram right now.
yeah, and he's totally crushing right now. He just got off tour with Cole Swindell and Ashley Cook. I've known him for years, and I really wanted this next song to be a duet, and when I was trying to think of what dude would be the best for this song, somebody that's country that can like that lives these lyrics, but also is just kind. And I just I like to surround myself with people that are
God bless that.
just good people, and he immediately came to mind. And so I was, because he's blowing up right now and really busy, so I was really thankful that he agreed to do this and loved the song. And he was like, I wanted to cut this song myself, so of course I would want to be on it with you. So
Aw, that had to make
I
you
thought
feel
it was really
so
cool.
good.
Yeah, totally. But it's a song called Place for Me, and I got to write it with one of my best friends, Jenna LeMaster, which you guys will be hearing all about her soon, and Jason Nix, who wrote Laney's first #1, which was Things a Man Ought to Know, and a guy named Jason Gant. And I just, I was like, if my granddaddy could get into heaven, so could I. And that's kind of where this came from. And
God,
so
that's good.
this is called Place for Me.
Excellent. Kasey Tyndall here in the Jam Happy Hour.
Couple verses I read said Jesus drank wine. What's the difference between that and cold beer? If the truth can be heard through a few choice words, I bet I could bend his ear. The straight and narrow walk is a little bit lost, gets covered in dirt, kind you can't wash off. But if a little bit of grace get you through the gates, and things are looking up down here. The redneck's got a place up in heaven. My first Chevy's waiting on me, and I can see it right now. Best seat in a house is a deer stand up a pine tree. If the Sunday crowd gets a little too loud, granddaddy's there, you best believe that if redneck's got a place up in heaven, and there's a place for me, a place for me. If tractors don't break down, whole thing's a hometown. Y'all come back and hay y'alls. If there's grease on jeans and lines in the creeks, and you can hunt all year long, and sure as the sky is blue and the streets are gold, where I'm going when he calls me home. If redneck's got a place up in heaven, my first I can see it right now. Best seat in a house is a deer stand up a pine tree. If the Sunday crowd gets a little too loud, Granddaddy's there, you best believe that if Redneck's got a place up in heaven, then there's a place for me, a place for me. A place for me. If Redneck's got a place up in heaven, my first Chevy's waiting on me. And I can see it right now. Best seat in a house is a deer stand up a pine tree. If the Sunday crowd gets a little too loud, Granddaddy's there, you best believe that if Redneck's got a place up in heaven, hell, there's a place for me, a place for me. A place for me. A place for me.
Not only are you a great storyteller, by the way, you have such a great, like almost like a lilt to the voice.
Oh, thank
was,
you.
Was that something that you always knew that you had? Did you know that you had a good voice growing up, or did you get into music in a different kind of way?
Well, like family, I'd always said growing up, oh, you can sing, but I learned, from all those car rides and listening to music,
Yeah.
I really learned how to control my pitch listening to Alison Krauss and Union Station.
Okay.
And Allison's voice is just so pure, that's I would just match her, and it really, I feel like I was able to gain control of my vocals pretty quickly because of her.
Confidently, maybe is the word I'm kind of like go for. Like there's a confidence in it. Like you know exactly where you're going, and it's like that is such a treasure. That's such a beautiful instrument, and it is.
Thank
I mean,
you.
obviously vocals are an instrument. Clearly, you play guitar. I mean, you grew up musically, or is this something that you just kind of like decided I'm gonna figure this out?
Yeah, I mean, nobody in my family really was musical. I mean, most of them could not carry a tune in a bucket, but they did tell me that my great grandma played piano in the church,
Aw.
and that's honestly that's as
it.
musical as it gets in my bloodline. So
Great.
I don't know where I really got it from.
Well, we're glad you found it, and we're glad that you're sharing it. And you talk about Alison Krauss and like what an amazing talent to connect to at a young age, and kind of as she has evolved and like all of her side projects, to see her kind of grow. I know you've name checked Miranda, you've name checked Avril Lavigne, you've obviously Joan Jett, which we'll get into here shortly. Like all of these women have evolved over the last 20, 30 years. How do you see your music and your talent evolving, or is it unwritten?
To me, it's unwritten. I feel like every day and every experience in the industry or just in life really puts a stepping stone in front of me that I another launching pad, and which is it's so fun about this career and just this dream is that there really
Never
is
dull.
there's no new artists ask us all the time, like, how do you do it? I'm like, nobody's path is the same.
Yeah.
And I don't even know the path I'm on half the time. I'm just wake up and love music and sing it.
Yeah.
And wherever it takes me the next day is where I know I'm supposed to be. So,
Yeah, it's a very good way to put that, actually. Just kind of let it evolve in its own organic kind of a way.
yeah.
But it is also fun to watch, like, these artists that you've loved for like all these years, like
yes.
go out and do new things and
my gosh.
jump into like new fun stuff. Now, I do want to jump into Joan Jett for a second because the song's freaking fantastic. But I met Joan once backstage at an iHeart Festival, and she's walking up. She's in head to toe black leather. She's got big fly glasses on, like something out of a YouTube video.
Yes.
And I'm intimidated beyond belief. And she's like maybe this big,
Oh,
walking up. Like,
that
what
was
a
my
force of
same.
nature.
I got to meet her once, and it was the same thing. And I was just like, you are the coolest person I have ever met and will probably ever meet in my entire life.
You talk about badass energy. Like, she could probably be
Yes.
having the worst day of her life and we would never know it.
Oh,
So
100%.
how do we get from, growing up on that music and just like, oh my God, this woman is shredding out of my radio and I don't understand what's happening and this is so cool. But now fast forward to you being an artist and you've decided, hey, I'm going to write this song.
Yeah, so at the time, I mean, I wrote this song in 2017. This
Oh,
was
so
when I
it's got
was
some
still a
age on
baby
it.
artist. Yeah, and it took a long time to get the song out. There was just so many roadblocks that was like preventing me from putting the song out. But at the time, I just needed something that was me, like something that was just really like explain the brand that I'm trying to sell.
Sure.
And so I just, in life, whenever I hit a roadblock, I always ask myself, what would Jesus do? And what would Joan Jett do? And I kind of add it together and I get my answer. And so that's kind of where the song Jesus and Joan Jett came from, which just found out passed 1 million streams just on Spotify, which I haven't done that with any other song yet. So
That's so cool.
Pretty excited.
Congratulations. That is
Thank you.
huge. And the merch, by the way, is fantastic.
oh, thank you.
Jesus
I
and
have to
Joan
send you
Jett.
some.
I'll buy it. I've got no problem with. I will support that because it's such. It's a great way that maybe some of these young ladies coming up these days who maybe aren't familiar with one or the other, Jesus or Joan Jett, maybe need to get a little education because between the
That's
two of them,
right.
you'll figure it out.
100%, and just what Joan did for just for music in general and for women in music is it's awesome. And that documentary, that Bad Reputation documentary, is if you haven't watched it, it's incredible. But yeah, she's definitely like one of my musical heroes, and I was honored that they wanted to help promote the song with me.
And how
so
cool
they,
is
like,
that?
That was honestly so
Like
cool.
the Joan Jett.
Yeah, I mean, just that they posted about it, and because of this song years ago, they had me out to a show, and I got to meet her, and it was one of the coolest days of my life.
So now here we go. We fast forward, and the song's getting a new life, and now it's coming back around in this weird viral world that we live in. How is it to kind of see it come back around now?
Good songs are good songs, and songs are meant to do what they're going to do, no matter, you see it with TikTok, all these old songs that are going viral again, and these artists are getting rejuvenated. That's kind of how I feel with the song. It's always been fan favorite, and I'm just so happy that it's just living, it's just still living.
Us too, absolutely. Are you ready to grace us with Jesus and Joan Jett?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, Kasey Tyndall here in the Jam Happy Hour, y'all.
A leather jacket, a leather Bible. I graduated an outcast from high school, sweet as a Sunday and fire on the throttle. I'm just spreading the gospel. Oh, I'm a prayer and I'm a sinner. Yeah, I'll bless your heart or flip you the finger. I'll sip the wine or shoot down the liquor. 'Cause I love rock and roll. You can find me on the back pew after the front row. Got a bad reputation, but I keep it on the down low. I got some black in my halo, a little misunderstood, 'cause I don't know. Washed in the water, lives in a whiskey. Might even like me once you get me. A head banging, cross hanging down from my neck. Yeah, I roll with Jesus and rock with Joan Jett. Hey. They tried to change me, they couldn't hang, so they called me crazy. I ain't your typical sweet southern daisy, beneath all as wild as a lady. I'll be on the back pew after the front row. Got a bad reputation, but I keep it on the down low. Got some black in my halo, a little misunderstood, 'cause I don't know. Washed in the water, bends in a whiskey. Might even like me once you get me. Banging, cross hanging down from my getting aiming. I be on the back pew after the front row. Got a bad reputation, but I keep it on the down low. I got some black in my halo, little misunderstood, cause I don't know. Washed in the water, cleansed in the whiskey. Might even like me once you get me. A head banging, cross hanging down from my neck. Yeah, I roll with Jesus and rock with John Jett. Hey. Yeah, I roll with Jesus and rock with John Jett. Hey. Yeah, I roll with Jesus and rock with John Jett. Hey.
So good. So perfect. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
I love it. Back pew after the front row. I think that's something we can all kind of relate to a little bit in our love of music and our love of you. Thank you for taking the time and hanging out with us tonight. We'd love to have you out in Napa sometime if you ever make it back out west again. And for everybody that's enjoyed the show this evening, I hope you will follow along with Kasey on all of her socials as well as all of her playlists because, you know, in this day and age, streams and plays, they matter. And if you want to support artistry, then please do all of those things. I feel like we've got to know you a little bit better. I know there's much more to come in 23. Good luck with Place for Me.
Thank you so much.
It's going to be here in like 2 weeks.
I know. My mind is blown.
Well, how can we keep up with you in 23? I know you're about to have a crazy year, but are you going to get on the road a little bit? Are you going to be putting out more music beyond Place for Me? Like, what's to come?
Lots of new music. I'm going to be touring a little bit the first part of the year with Tracy Lawrence, which is going to be super fun. And you know what? We're going to keep cranking out music, and we'll be touring a bunch in the summer and fall. And I hope you guys will come check me out.
Absolutely. Well, next time I'm in Nashville, for sure, I'm going to bring my milk, my eggs, my bread, my jam wines. I'm going to show up. We're going to have a great time. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And we've absolutely loved getting to know you better. And we will be watching for 23. Good things, big things.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, anytime. Cheers. You guys have a beautiful evening. Enjoy the music and support your favorite artist. Good night.